Continuing with our Fatal Frame Facts series, let's kick this one off by continuing the trend of main protagonists and look at some facts related to one of my personal favourite characters in the series, Kurosawa Dei from Fatal Frame 3. 1. In Fatal Frame 3, Dei is 23 years old, meaning she was born in 1965. Sadly, this is the only entry of the series we see her in, but it means that by the time Fatal Frame 5 takes place, so far the last chronological game in the series, she would have been 41 then. This makes her the oldest female protagonist in the series in terms of their age when they first appeared, as Miku was 17, Mio 15, Luca 17, and Yuri 19. 2. Her first name, Dei, uses the character for wise. However, there's also a bit of a pun here as she's engaged to Asol Yu. And of course, if you put their names together, you get Yu-Dei, ghost. 3. Her last name, Kurosawa, means black swamp. This is an important name in the series as a whole, because Japan tends to associate ghosts with water. You can find a different Kurosawa family not related to Dei in the second game, and Shibata gave them that name because he saw them as protectors of a black swamp-like border. Shibata has mentioned before that he likes a particular poem that mentions the edge of the world as being something like a border with black air, something that resembles a black swamp. Thus, characters in Fatal Frame that are particularly close to the other side and spiritually powerful tend to have that name. 4. But on that note, Dei is related to Kurosawa Hisoka from the 5th game. It's unknown exactly how they are related, and there is an 18-year age gap between them, but both are descended from a shrine maiden who escaped the disaster on Mount Hikami all those years ago. Hisoka was designed specifically to reference Dei, and this is why they look somewhat alike, particularly in their clothes. 5. And finally, because there are so many Kurosawas, no, neither Dei nor Hisoka are strictly related to Kurosawa Ul from the 5th game. Ul was given the name Kurosawa in recognition of the important work she did as a shrine maiden on Mount Hikami, as it was their job to protect the Shadow Spring, also known in Japanese as the Black Lake or Black Swamp. Shrine maidens of great importance on Mount Hikami were allowed to take the Kurosawa surname, and it was a different, unrelated one, who Dei and Hisoka were descended from. 6. Coming back to Fatal Frame 3, Dei was engaged to Asol Yu, descendant of Dr. Asol. As we know, Dr. Asol was in love with Ul in his youth, one of the Kurosawas from Mount Hikami. So, in a roundabout way, Yu and Dei is almost a reuniting of those families from that game. The pair met as students, and Dei remarked in her notebook that he was the opposite of me in every way, quiet and kind, like gently falling rain. 7. When we first meet her, Dei is a freelance photographer. She has previously done work for fashion magazines, but being freelance, presumably she just takes whatever jobs are available. 8. When creating Dei, the creators wanted a mature protagonist this time around, to fit the darker themes. Someone strong, mature, and able to endure the darkness she would have to go through. And of course, beautiful. Originally, they thought about making her older, around 26, and then decided to bring that down to 23. And finally, they wanted someone to suit one of the main keywords of the game, tattoo. 9. And when it came to her outfit, Dei was initially designed wearing a skirt, but as they were refining the character looks, a female staff member suggested they change it to pants, as pants look cooler. Most of the staff agreed, and so her final look became the blue top and dark pants we see in the game. Although you can find an alternate costume in which she does wear a skirt. Staff also felt the pants offered some nice balance with Miku and her skirt. 10. Dei's favourite colour is blue, and this is also her theme colour and the colour of the third game as well. Her tattoo in the game also shows up as dark blue, while Miku, who has the theme colour red, has a tattoo that shows up as dark red. 11. Dei is voiced in Japanese by Minagawa Junko. I'm not going to list everything major she's ever done because she's been in seemingly everything, but from my personal interests, she has also voiced Ada Wong from Resident Evil in Japanese since 2012. She also voices Kuze Deika, the tattooed priestess, which helps drive home the point of how Dei and Deika are almost mirror images of each other in different time periods. 12. In English, Dei is voiced by Kimberly Brooks. Again, she has seemingly been in everything over the years, from Dexter's Lab to Scooby-Doo to South Park and various DC properties. 13. Dei has 4 unlockable costumes in Fatal Frame 3, 2 of them keeping her theme of dark blue, and the other 2 being a black and a red yukata. 14. After the events of Fatal Frame 1, Hinasaki Miku moves in with Yu and Dei. After graduating from high school, she begins working as Dei's assistant, and the pair become quite close, although there is ultimately still a distance between them, as both are dealing with their own traumas. 15. In the summer of 1988, Dei and Yu are involved in a traffic accident, and Yu dies. This leaves Dei deeply traumatized, and she ends up rarely leaving the house except for jobs. She also pivots from photographing people to mostly objects and scenery. 16. On September 7th, 1988, Dei visits the abandoned ruins of Kuze Shrine with Miku to take some photos for a job. But while there, she sees Yu and chases after him. It's here that she becomes infected with the tattooed curse, and that very same night, she dreams of the manner of sleep for the first time. 17. At the end of Fatal Frame 3, Dei finds Deika and sees her final moments before she finally defeats her and helps her move on to the other side. Although Fatal Frame 5 didn't exist at the time, this has since become one of the easiest retcons in history, as people claim that Dei is glancing Deika, a power that the Shrine Maidens on Mount Hikami had. The same Shrine Maidens Dei was later said to be descended from. 18. At the end of the game, when Yu and Dei finally meet, Yu takes her tattoos. In the Japanese version of the game, they simply disappear. But in the Western versions, Yu literally takes her tattoos and they appear on his body instead. It's unknown why this change was made. 19. Fatal Frame 3 was the first game in the series to have only one real ending. Technically there are 2, but the second and true ending simply adds some photographs to the end, to let you know a little further information about what happened after the game. In this ending, Dei and Miku are seen continuing their work together, and then Dei finally meets Mio from the second game as well. 20. By the time she appears, Dei is the tallest female protagonist in the series. She's never given an official height, but we can see her towering over Miku throughout the game, and she's only just shorter than Kei. From later games, we know Miku was around 160 centimeters, and Dei's relative Hisoka is also one of the tallest women in the series, coming in at 168 centimeters. So it's likely that Dei is somewhere around or above the 170 mark. 21. On August 19th, 2005, Dei was chosen as IGN's Video Game Babe of the Day in an article that's very early to mid-2000s. And I quote, "Well, seeing as Dei's adventure is kicked off by her finding a picture of her dead boyfriend in a haunted mansion, we'll take it she's single. Yay! Let's imagine we were Dei and had a camera obscura of our own. Well, being hot, we'd probably spend countless hours using it on ourselves, hiding it in discreet places in the bathroom, and spend time soaping ourselves up in the haunted shower." Moving on. 22. By the same token, in 2008, she was featured in a Games Radar article titled "The Top 7 Shower Scenes in Video Games." Dei's scene comes in at number 5, and even for the time, it's an odd article, so let's leave it at that. 23. Dei is briefly mentioned, although not by name, in Fatal Frame 5. Miku's missing person note mentions in Japanese that after she was discovered in the mountains after the Himuro Mansion incident, she started work as a photographer's assistant. However, 3 years after giving birth, she went missing. The token given to the Kurosawa antique store was a photo of Miku taken by said photographer, meaning Dei. Being that we know Dei stopped photographing people shortly before the events of Fatal Frame 3, thanks to her trauma, this is further evidence of her healing her trauma and moving on after that game. In the photo, we can see Miku wearing the same clothes she was wearing when she disappeared. So it's possible that Dei was one of the last people to see her before she left for Mount Hikami. 24. At the Koei Tecmo Fatal Frame themed cafe that ran during November and December of 2019, you could grab a set called the Dei and Deika's Cheesecake and Butterfly Pea Tea Set. For 1,300 yen, this got you exactly what you'd expect. A piece of Japanese-style no-bake cheesecake, and some butterfly pea flower tea. Naturally, these were chosen because of Dei and Deika's ties with the colour blue. 25. And finally, the first thing we ever hear Dei say is Yus Name as she finds his body after the crash. This is followed by her being slightly disappointed while on the job at Kuze Shrine, remarking, "I'd heard this house was haunted. Too bad it's not." Which sets the scene for the rest of the game and immediately lets us know that Dei is not going to be a pushover. In fact, you might say, these ghosts are locked in here with her. And that is 25 facts about Kurosawa Dei, the main playable character from Fatal Frame 3. But what did you guys think of this one? Are there any other characters or games you'd like me to explore? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you again next time.